You might have seen arrays in other programming languages as well in C, C++, and Java, but arrays in Python are quite different. It actually is not inbuilt in Python. We import the array module. We'll see what are modules in future sessions, but we import array to make use of arrays in Python. So arrays can compactly represent an array of basic values, characters, integers, and floating point numbers. Now, when we saw list, so list can comprise of various elements of various data types, but that is not the case with arrays. So what actually happens in arrays is we specify the data we want to have in our array, and all the elements in that array will have that data type only. And if we don't, if we make some mistake over there, we will get the error. Arrays are also sequence types and behave like lists, except that their type is constrained. The type is specified by using a type code. We have several type codes, and let's have a look at it. So we have B. If you're coming from C, C++ programming languages, you might know what these data types are. But even if you don't, I'll just explain them in brief. So B is signed cards. So characters are basically single characters. For example, if I say A is a single character. Even if I say 4, 4 is also a single character. So when I say B actually denotes a character. Again, when I say capital B, that will be an unsigned character. Now, you might know if coming from other programming languages that every character is assigned some ASCII value that actually ranges from -128 to 127. But when I say unsigned, the negative values are discarded. So what we have is 0 to 225, 255. Now we have a U. U denotes a Unicode character. In C, we had the ASCII characters, but in Python, we have Unicode characters. Stands for signed short. Short is another name for integers, but the range was very small in C. Although in Python the range of int is unlimited, but over here when I use this particular type code H, it will denote signed short. For capital H, it is going to be unsigned short. Same thing, it will exclude all the negative values. Then I have I for signed integers, capital I for unsigned integers, L for signed long, capital L for unsigned long, and so on and so forth. So you can see F is for flow, D is for double, Q for signed long, and Q for unsigned long. So yeah, this is the bytecode which we mentioned while initializing an array in Python. These are some of the array methods: append, buffer, info, byte swap, count, extend, from list, and so on. And let's have a look at that very quickly. So So yeah, as I said, we it is important to import the array module before making use of arrays. Otherwise, it will lead to an error. So over here, how to initialize an array? First of all, I mentioned the name of the module. I will just give you just how to work with modules. If I have import array, so what I do is array, that is the module which I'm using, dot the method inside the module which I'm using. Now the method which we use to initialize an array is the array method itself. So what I do is the module name array dot array. Now it takes two arguments. The first one is the bytecode which we have seen just now. So that will indicate the data type which we are going to use in the array. And the next is going to be any sequence. Over here I have used list. So what it will do is it will take this list and make sure it's of the integer type, and then it will initialize an array. So when I print this array, you can see it actually gives the output as array, integer, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then again, if I say class of array dot array, this is the type of the array. So again, the type is going to be array. Similarly, indexing and slicing is possible in array, so I think I need not mention that once again. We can also create an array using tuples. We don't have a restriction that we can only create using lists. We can also have tuples, we can also have strings, whatever you want. You can literally have any sequence type. Let's have a look at some of the array methods. So the first one is going to be append. Now we already have an original array that consists of 1, 2, 3, and 4. And suppose we want to append 5, that is insert 5 towards the end of the array. So I make use of the append method, append this particular value 5. So the array after appending will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now append can be used to actually add only one element. But for example, if I want to add more than one element, for two elements, three elements, or four elements, and so on. So we can make use of extend method, which is helpful in adding more than one element. So when I say this is my original array, which consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, when I say extend with 10, 9, and 8, the resultant array will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 9, and 10, 9, and 8. Now, one thing to notice, append, extend, these are destructive methods. They alter the original array. Similarly, we also have a count method in array also that counts the number of occurrences of a particular element. For example, if I want to count the number of occurrences of 3, so we have 3 4 times in this array, so the output is 4. Similarly, I can count the number of occurrences of this element 5, which occurs 3 times, so the output is going to be 3. We can also reverse an array for now the original array one, that is 1.23, 4.26 to 9.08 and 1.05. When I use the reverse method, I get the entire array reverse 1.05, 9.08, 4.26 and 1.23. We also have a pop method over here, which will pop the last element in the array. So the original array, as you can see, it is this thing. When I use the pop method, so if we don't pass any parameter, it will actually remove the last element. But since we have actually passed a parameter, that is the 2, so 2 will be the index the index of the element which we want to remove. So since we want to remove the element at index 2, so this is 0, 1, and 2. So this method will remove this element, that is 4.26. So the resultant array will not have that element. Now, remove method is used, again, it is used to remove an element, but in contrast with pop method, which was actually taking the index as a parameter, remove method will take the actual element which we want to remove from the array. So when I say remove 10, it will remove the element 10 in the array. So this is my original array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 9, 8. So when I say array.remove 10, it would actually go to the 10th index. It will remove the element with value 10. So after removal, the array will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 8. Now, for example, if I want to add an element at the index which I want to, we make use of insert method. So what this method, it takes two arguments. The first one is the index at which we want to insert the element, and the next is the value which we want to insert. So when I say index 3, the original array is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 8. So this is index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3. So after index 2, I want to insert this element. So what I do is third index and the second parameter is going to be 40. So the output is going to be 1, 2, 3. So this is index 2. At third index, we have 40 and the rest of the array remains the same. So what happens is this 4 gets shifted towards the right and along with all the other elements. So yeah, this is the functioning of array. You can obviously explore more about arrays and array methods on the documents which we are going to share. You can also have a look at all these methods in this Python documentation. And that is actually highly recommended that you go through the Python documentation with everything which we see, that once you have a grasp of all these topics, so the only thing which you have to refer to is Python documentation, because practically speaking, no one in this universe can actually teach you A to Z of what is there in Python. So if you are stuck at something, documentation is always there, and you can have a look at that. If you might have noticed, I might have jumbled or create a mess over at some points because we don't actually remember all those things. What we do is if we are stuck at something, we refer to the documentation. So this is highly recommended that whatever topics you practice, just go through the documentation, and that will transform you from a newbie to a perfect programmer. Next, we have NumPy.